Feels like it's been a while. So this usually goes with you, Mayhem, starting things off, isn't it?
Look at us. Fancy meeting you boys here. Morg, play the jingle.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Boo Podcast. My name is Fennan. I'm one of your main hosts. Join alongside me, I've got Cam. How are you doing, mate?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I've got the man who has recently celebrated his 30th birthday. Welcome to the 30s Club, Mayhem. How does it feel?
In my head, mate, I'm 22 still. Just my body that's collapsing around me.
Well, we were just talking about Glasgow, so we still feel that we've got it, in a sense.
But you were talking about Glasgow. I was talking about how I couldn't cope. I'd do one day at the festival, 2 days back at the hotel.
It was more the sense of reminiscing, weren't we? Like, we were reminiscing of when we were in the days of being 22, 23, and how we could pretty much stomach any form of alcohol or whatever substance. But, look...
Speculation. But
allegedly.
Yeah. It used to be. You rattle off 4 days and think about it. You bounce up for work after a long weekend, and now I'm still really suffering from the effects of the weekend. So it catches up with you quick. Your mind takes you a bit longer to get there, but your body's definitely collapsing around you.
Where did your birthday celebrations take you this past weekend?
I was in towns. I was in Belfast. Ferry drink on the Thursday with a few people from work, and then just to be a bit low key. Was out with the kids on Sunday. Chilled on Saturday. A few people obviously come around and dropped off gifts, but nothing too outlandish. You'd be drinking the house. I mean, it's no festival season here, mate. Get it done, get it dusted.
It's too early for that, anyway.
Get it tucked away, and get my head down now for the festivities that come in Northern Ireland over the next couple of days. So you can't wander too far in July.
Yeah, happy days, man. How have you spent your summer so far, Cam?
Working.
Yep. There we go. Leave it at that. All right, cool.
Yeah. He shaves off that beard. I reckon he could get 6 weeks holiday out of it one last time. Like,
Don't be stupid.
Well, I thought, me and you, Joel, we spoke over the last 24 hours, and we thought, to celebrate you turning 30, we can introduce a transfer window special for the audience, for the followers, and that's exactly what we're doing tonight. And so that's what I mean. I've written up a draft as in terms of what really stands out for us in the football transfer window across Europe and elsewhere, so to speak. But of course, with you being followers of Celtic, Joel and Cam, and myself being a Cardiff follower, I thought we can address what business has been constructed by Celtic and Cardiff, and then we can go on to the big transfers of the Premier League. So I thought we'd start off with Celtic, as we always do in every episode. And it's like, I'm going to start off with the more... We're starting on an emotional touch here, and that was Jota going to Al Ittihad for a fee of 25 million. It was always inevitable that it was going to be tough to hold on to the talent that Celtic had this past season. Not even the past season, the past 2 seasons under Postecoglou, but to see someone of Jota's caliber, who this is a figure who we've put in the discussion of being in the top, the top teams in the Premier League, who could eventually go on to the higher elite in Europe, the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona and whoever, and to see someone of his talent and his caliber to go to Saudi, which I know a lot of players have done, but if you compare their situation to Jota's at the moment, it seems like it's quite a disappointing move in a way, but financially, 25 million is a big fee for a club like Celtic. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the whole deal, Mayhem?
Yeah, look, obviously disappointed to lose any good player. Um, so when the rumours were circulating, I don't think anyone really thought that there was any real risk. And it transpired very quickly that actually, Jota was interested in the move. Whether that be financially, I think sort of rumored to be on like 192 grand a week going across. Moving to the champions of Saudi Arabia, playing with Benzema and Kante, playing in the same league as Cristiano Ronaldo, which I'm sure he idolised as a boy
Yeah,
growing up.
I think that was a big factor in his move as well, and I think he said it himself. That was the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is playing in Saudi himself.
Being Portuguese, sorry, being from Portugal. I'm sure all those things factored in. And yeah, look, we got a decent price from him. This is the model. Unfortunately, that is the case. With Celtic, is we're always going to be a club that brings people in and gives them a platform and has a price. And 25 million, most expensive non-domestic player to ever be sold in the league. Obviously, highest fee matching with KT. Brought for 6.5 million. Good business. I think there was a sell on that percentage of the profit goes to Benfica, but still making well over I think 10 million profit on a player. So yeah, that's the platform. Would have liked him for a few more years and enjoyed him for a few more years, of course. And seeing how he would have done, obviously under Rodgers now that he's back, but it's not to be. And no one's bigger than the football club. So once it was kind of done, dusted, that was that, and we've had a little while to kind of get to terms with it, and hopefully now that Brendan rumored to have £30 million to spend, add on the whatever I think we lose about 7 million to Benfica, so add on that 18 million. And we're up at that near 50 million mark to go and reinvest in the squad. So hopefully we do that. Hopefully we can get a few more people off the books and get a few more away. We've had a lot of deadwood come back to the club that just needs shifted. The likes of Liam Shaw and Uragidi and Yeti, and the list goes on. So hopefully we can get a few of those boys off the books, reinvest that into the wage project, back into the football club, and bring in a couple of key players. I think within the wings department, there's a lot of talk about Abada as well going to Sporting. That seems to be ramping up, so that may come to fruition. But within the wings, we've still got Maeda, still got Haksabanovic.
Yeah, and just to add there, you've also, despite Yossa going to Al Ittihad for 25 million, Brendan Rodgers has also done some business himself. He's brought in another winger as well from Melbourne Victory in Marco Tilio. There's been a lot of noise about him from A-League followers, so is there any anticipation of where he could perhaps be a big filler of those boots for Jota, perhaps?
I don't know about Jota. I think it's harsh to maybe compare a player to someone that's just walked through the door to compare him to arguably the best player at the football club. But yeah, look, there's a lot of noise. We've operated in that market before with the likes of Tom Roderick and Scott McDonald and people coming over. So there's a lot of noise about him. Apparently, the club's been interested in him for a few years, and this has been almost sounded like a planned progression that if he performed, that we would be, sort of in contact and looking to bring him across. And we've obviously activated that clause and brought him in, so he's excited to come to the football club, speaks really well. Looks to be attacking and direct. So I think he's more, if we were looking at it, he's probably more of a Barda replacement rather than the Jota replacement. So we'll see what kind of moves we make in the window in regards to replacing Jota and how we look to strengthen. But yeah, it looks decent from seeing snippets and clips and YouTube compilations that could make anyone look good. So it's difficult to judge now, but he certainly looks direct and
Yeah.
attacking. So we'll reserve judgment for now, but hopefully he can have a big impact.
Hopefully so. And then the other name that you brought in as well, which has been noted by Brendan Rodgers, is a midfielder from Vålerenga, Odin Thiago Holm. I don't
Great
know if
name.
I completely butchered that name. I know it. From Vålerenga, Norwegian side. From what I've read about him, he's more of a like a defensive, combative midfielder who likes to break up play, a bit of a box to box persona. So do you feel, I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything on Thiago Holm at all, if he will be a good fit for the Celtic side?
I've seen him do some beautiful kick-ups on a backflip as he was being announced.
Watch on YouTube.
Did a backflip?
Yeah, as he's doing
Highlights.
keepy-ups.
Keepy-ups and parkour. Okay, cool.
As much
Parkour.
as I've seen. But Celtic have operated in markets now for a couple of seasons where we don't really know what we're getting. The likes of Rio Tati, Kyogo, Leah Labada, none of them were, unless she was in a part of the world and really into that genre and football, then you weren't going to know them. So I think there's a lot more trust with the way that we operate now, and the people that we've brought in. Probably the most high-profile player that we've signed across Postecoglou's time was probably Alistair Johnson, and people only really knew him because of the World Cup. So, we've operated in some more niche markets, but most of those players have hit the ground running and had a big impact. So I think there's more trust there within the recruitment process, that if we're identifying players and signing them, that we trust them, that the scouting's been done and we're getting a decent player. So be interesting to see, the fact we're bringing someone in midfield, an area that we're pretty stacked anyway. I know Aaron Moy's retired, but there's still term.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was going to mention about Aaron Moy's retirement as well, and it feels like it's a void that's been filled pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it seems to be how we're doing business now. I know that Jota's out the door, and we don't have on paper Jota's replacement, but Leah Labada's looking like he's going to move on, and we've got Tilio in that's looking like the now done replacement. We see it with Juranovic, and Alistair Johnson was in. So we're operating, we're being proactive and getting these players in before we lose them, rather than scrambling. So we'll see what happens in regards to replacing Jota. But like I said, I think there's more confidence now in the recruitment rather than when we were signing duds like Albion and Yeti. And so
and there's more positivity comes with it, amongst the squad themselves. Like Kyogo and Maeda also signing on with, I believe they're both 4-year deals. I don't know if Maeda's is the same as Kyogo. I know Kyogo is definitely a 4-year deal. I think that does show a strong sense of continuity amongst the Celtic faithful.
Yeah, Callum McGregor signing today as well, 5-year deal.
Wow. Okay.
Tying these players down. I think Kyogo was the big one.
Yeah, he was huge. Yeah.
But whether or not, it remains to be seen whether or not we've whacked him on a 4-year deal to make sure that if someone's coming in, we can really ramp up the price and say this is what you have to pay for him, or whether that's again a proactive step to make sure that he's still part of Celtic Football Club. We'll see, but either way, it makes sense. If we are going to lose him, we're now losing him at a premium price, and if not, then we've got someone that we know is. I think he's a Brendan Rodgers style player. Plays on the last man, quick. He's going to press. We know that Brendan's going to probably play more possession football than we've played, but still, having that player that's going to play on the last shoulder and break lines is something that I'm sure every team looks for in a striker. So they fit the middle perfectly, and I expect next season he'll do what he's done this season and bag a ton of goals.
100%, yeah. What are your thoughts, Cam, on the dealings of Celtic so far, the ins and outs?
Here's a shocker, mate. I don't keep up with the transfer news. That bores me. really.
You're
When
not
the
a fan of
window's
the
closed,
transfer window at all,
I
no?
watched I watched the last bit of it at the end of the day, but just hearsay here and there until stuff's actually over the line and players are in. I don't really care for it much.
But is there a sense of interest that you have in terms of like the incomings that
Nah, not
either
really.
Southwark or Tottenham bring in?
Nah, Tottenham more because I've seen more players. Like I know more of the players that Tottenham are going to bring in, but like Celtic obviously have to do different. Have to go and find a gem where Tottenham can just buy one. Can spend 40 million on a player that's already made. Where Celtic will have to get it in the dirt for cheap and then make it into the diamond and sell it on. So
Yeah.
when they're at the club, there's more interest obviously when I go to watch them, but not like 7 million for some like, geezer that I've never heard of. I'm not going to go and watch his highlights on YouTube. Don't really get a good like aspect of the player. So when he plays 90 minutes for Celtic, then I care a bit more. But
Well, what about the dealings that Tottenham have done so far? Obviously, Postecoglou now at the helm. He's managed to conclude 2 deals. One being James Maddison from Leicester for a fee of 50 million, and then a new goalkeeper. I know you vented. I think we all vented frustrations over Hugo Lloris over the last year or so, at the very least. And
yeah, they're the big ones. But the big one is Kane away. So you can spend. It looks that way to me. Spending all this money, it looks like Kane's going to go somewhere, and then you have to rebuild there.
well, the club that he's heavily linked with at the moment is Bayern Munich. So initially they had a verbal agreement of 60 million euros rejected, and according to speculation, that Bayern have come back in with a 80 million euro bid.
Yeah, but it makes no sense. Why leave the Premier League? Beat Shearer's record. Why go play German football?
I think it's the conflicting decision that he's got to make. He either chases Shearer's record or he goes after silverware in his career.
Look, at the end of the day, what holds up more? 5 Bundesliga titles in a league that Bayern Munich have won for the last 11 years, or a record that's held for the last 20 years? I
think Kane, amazingly again. We don't know if it's speculation or what's going on, but I was surprised to hear that Kane seems open to the move. I thought he'd want to stay in England, but let's be honest, 80 million euro. What does that work out to be about? I think it's about 67, 70 million. He's never leaving Tottenham for that. He's not letting him leave for 70 million. Not
the one that baffles me is away in fucking Manchester with Man United that want to be a serious title contender that don't want to spend the money for Kane.
Yeah, I think that's the problem that they've got there is they've all that shite going on with the owners, whether they can get the club sold and whether they can move on. I would hate to be a United fan. I'm surrounded by them in Northern Ireland. It's Liverpool, United over here, but.
Well, they made one big signing already in Mason Mount.
A big sign in my arse.
In terms financially wise,
whose cock is Mason Mount sucking to be moved to Man United?
Only his dad's.
That is the worst signing Man United have ever made, and they signed Paul Pogba back. That is appalling. The geezer is dog shit. He is dog shit with a capital D. I do not understand any. He's better than Christian. He wasn't better than Christian Eriksen died on the pitch, let alone with his heart beating. It's baffling to me why Man United have gone in and got what midfield. You're like, maybe Man United's midfield's a bit okay, but Weghorst up front, we'll buy Mason Mount for 60 million. Appalling. But Man United aren't great at the particular, especially the way they let De Gea go.
I think Mount improves them. But I say more so about they're playing Fred and McTominay.
You know what? No, Mount does improve the United midfield.
Maybe at TikTok, that's about it, mate. He's not. I'd rather Fred.
But then you look at Fred and McTominay
I'd rather Fred.
beside Bruno.
Look, you're talking about someone that won Chelsea's Player of the Year 2 years in a row. I know that he's fell out. He's obviously fell out of favour there now because they've let him go. But I think he'll improve United. But I think that says more about United than actually Mason Mount's level. And to give him the number 7 shirt, maybe I'm just being nostalgic and showing my age, but numbers hold weight at clubs, in my opinion, and to put the 7 on his back.
Yeah, no, that still stands. Like, no, that's not a nostalgic matter whatsoever.
Just
No,
retire the shirt.
numbers purely hold tradition and stature, without a
Retire
doubt.
the shirt. That's the problem. Selwick have it. Retire number 7. Till you actually have a player worthy to wear it. No one should walk into Man United and get 7 unless you're already a world-class proven player.
And if we're talking about numbers, let's talk about like Jude Bellingham when he was at Birmingham. Like Birmingham retired the number 22 because of Jude Bellingham, and that guy hadn't even hit puberty yet, basically.
Yeah, that kid is gonna break all sorts of records.
Yeah, they say whoever made that call, he's looking absolutely goated now, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Well, that's another one. He went to fucking
Real Madrid for what was it? A fee of £105 million.
Did they start racially abusing him at the stadium, or like when does that happen? Because that's a great signing for Jude.
Is that a Real Madrid thing?
Yeah. Fucking. Who's the winger? Vinny.
Vinny Junior. Yeah, but that wasn't Real Madrid fans. That wasn't Real Madrid fans.
He's just gonna get racially abused in Madrid. So,
yeah, but not by his own fans.
Maybe in Valencia.
No, it happened like 3 or 4 times. That's he kept getting booked for it. Because apparently a black man chanting back at white people is still not allowed in Spanish football.
I see the Valencia one. I didn't see any others. So.
Yeah, it came up. There was like 3 or 4.
No, there was Valencia, and then maybe someone like Sevilla or Mallorca that popped up as well.
Mallorca would be them.
Yeah, one of them. I don't know, but no, Vinny Junior, of course, did suffer a lot of racial abuse last season. But
and then Mbappe's going there next year, isn't he? Apparently on a free.
This is what I don't understand. Like, so PSG have come out and said that Mbappe has verbally agreed a move to Real Madrid next summer, but then he's come out and he's called out the whole of the PSG hierarchy in the squad.
Do you know what? I can't stand him. Can't stand him.
No, I can't either, to be honest. I'm with Cam on this. I don't get this whole situation as to why you'd want to call out.
No one's bigger than the club. Well, apparently Mbappe is.
Well, I think his contract says different.
It's stupid. Oh, Messi's starting. No, he's not, because I'm co-owner, or whatever he is. Like, I tell you who starts.
I think with Mbappe, you only really see, his limit, or his true ability when he leaves the French league. I think there was a recent recent thing that come out that like the French league was rated like the 7th best league in the world. I think Belgium.
Well, they dropped out of the top 5. Ligue 1 actually dropped out of the top 5 recently.
Yeah. I think that Belgium was above it or something. So
they're only good for making beer
and anything, and decent chocolate makers as well. But when you're thinking of everything he's doing, it's now going to have that asterisk next to it that he's doing it in France. But yeah, I think we'll only really find out his actual.
Well, it could be like a disgusting Real Madrid team if they like get Mbappe on free, and then Haaland goes into that contract, whether if foresee, doesn't it? They could have Mbappe, Haaland, Jude, Vinny, maybe that Alvarez. Just absolutely rebuild the Galacticos, mate.
I think they would.
That Rodriguez as well. They were like hyping about that scored a couple goals at old Stamford Bridge. They were like loving him off. I've never heard of the boy, but the commentators were just like saying he was like God's. He was like greatest thing since sliced bread and all that. So the future looks bright in Madrid. Always does though.
Yeah, they've just got. It doesn't matter how much debt they're in. They just pull out 100 million for players. Like.
Yeah, that's the thing. They always find someone, and that someone this season is Jude Bellingham. Yeah, despite the fact that they've still got Modric in midfield, who signed a new deal recently, Toni Kroos, who isn't leaving anytime soon, and then they've still got the likes of Tchouaméni that can play there, Camavinga if they don't play him left back. Like the options are endless for Real Madrid always.
It's like a Panthers fucking squad builder playing him at
it really is.
What's that? 6'2", high work rates per centre back.
Oh, what's that? All my players are injured. Do a squad builder.
It's really took a turn.
It's that easy for Real Madrid, like.
Yeah.
But then talking about central midfielders, and I think this is possibly one of the biggest transfers to take place in the Premier League so far this season. Sandro Tonali to Newcastle, a player who was reluctant to leave Milan in the first place, but had left for big money because Milan had come out and said that they need the finances to keep themselves afloat. And I mean, for Newcastle's standpoint, it's a huge, huge signing for them, especially if they want to push that top four.
I don't know. I don't watch enough Italian football, but the 2 legs I see him in the Milan derby.
Now, he's not a midfielder that is in his peak, by all means. Like, he's a fantastic player from what I've seen for him playing for Milan. But is he really the big improvement that Newcastle need right now to take them the next step?
Well, he's better than that pile of pish that they had in the midfield that Tottenham made look world class. It's got to be.
Which one?
Oh, I can't remember his name. That's how much I don't rate him.
Well, I imagine he'll probably just come in over the likes of Longstaff.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
they'll probably run with, Bruno Guimaraes will be able to push forward a wee bit more, and I imagine unless they sign someone else, Joe Linton will.
Joe Linton, that's the one.
Yeah, Joe Linton will be alongside them.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Newcastle. Squad depth's not a bad thing if you're in the Champions League. That's always a good thing, and battling for positions is always good for players. Keeps someone at their toes is always good to keep them on form.
I mean, he'll certainly bring Champions League experience to the side, so I think he'll bring, not only technically he'll be a fantastic player to Newcastle, but I think in terms of mentality, I think he'll, like I said, he'll take his experience into that dressing room, and
that's all you can ask.
That's the thing, like football's a massive game psychologically nowadays, and football individuals bring more than what they can bring to the pitch.
Well, I just hope that he, comes with the right attitude, because he looked like he was dragging his feet a little bit, and when they were showing him around, and there's a few things that have gone up on social media where his partner's saying like, oh, the gym here is lovely, and he's like, yeah, it's bigger at Milan and stuff like this. So
I mean, it is AC Milan to Newcastle. Like, I know you'll have people in Newcastle saying they're a bigger club, but the San Siro to like.
Well, I think the difficult thing is that Newcastle are still going through that transition of becoming a big club. I mean, historically, by all means, Newcastle are a massive club. But then, if we're talking historically, Milan are a bigger club than Newcastle. But in terms of, this day and age, I feel Newcastle still need to invest their fortunes into their facilities and make it an attraction to players abroad from top tier clubs.
I think this general thing of being a big club. Newcastle aren't a big club. They're nowhere near it. They're miles away because they have a massive stadium, and the only thing in Newcastle is Newcastle. They're not a big club. They're nowhere near it. They've had no success. They're great when you look back on their biggest moments. It's the manager kicking off at Ferguson in '98 when they lost the league. Like this whole narrative of big clubs needs to just. The way I look at it, if you're a big club, you won the Champions League. If you haven't, you're not a big club. Simple as. You can't sit with the big boys. You're not European honour. Like, go back down to where you belong. Humble yourself. And that's the way I look at it. Because you've got 60,000 feet stadium, you've got an owner that's invested more money into a club than more history. Look, Forest are a bigger club than Arsenal. They've got 2 Champions Leagues. But Arsenal have got a better stadium because they've had more money. You can't... Like, there's success and then there's financial success. And I think this narrative of big clubs has changed so much. since the last 20 years.
Yeah, I think also what you got to think about is there's historical size, and then there's the relevant size that a club is as well. So historically, the likes of Nottingham Forest and that are big football clubs, but in recent times, someone like Arsenal and that would have overtaken them just with the success in recent times. Newcastle they already have the infrastructure they don't need to build a new stadium. They don't need to pile that money in. They have that asset. What they need to do now, is go and be consistent.
I think this is where players get attracted by these clubs, because they don't look at the current state the club is in. They look at the project. They talk to the owners of what they expect in 5 years' time. Where do they expect the club to be in 5 years' time in terms of where they can take them? Will they be a Champions League club? Will they be will they be competing for the title, this time in 2029? This is what young players look at, and I feel in the sense of Sandro Tonali, he's gone to Newcastle. He spoke with the owners. He spoke with Eddie Howe, and they lined out a 5-year plan for him to say, like, right, with you coming in and with the time we've got on our hands over the next 5 years, we expect to be up there with the likes of Man City, with the likes of Arsenal, with the likes of whoever, and this is what this is what we think you can bring to us, and then we're looking to improve X, Y, Z across this starting 11. I think that's the big thing with young players, because they want to go as far as they can in their career in terms of achieving honours, not only domestically but continentally as well. And I think that's really the only selling point with Sandro Tonali, is because Newcastle are recently taken over by billionaires and have all the money in the world, where they can improve left, right and centre. It's the same thing with Man City. We talk about, we go back 10, 15 years when they attracted Robinho to come there. I know Robinho at the time was thinking he was going to United, but by all means wasn't the case. But eventually they slowly recruited the team they needed to be competitive amongst the elite.
What City have done as well is they've built an infrastructure. Right?
Yeah.
They have the best youth academy in the country. They've improved on the stadium. That's not something that Newcastle need to do. Like I said, they've already got 50,000 sitting there, but the likes of the youth academies and attracting, it's tougher for the likes of City and Newcastle to build the whole package, because they're in Manchester and they're up in the north.
Location, and by all means, the location plays a big part as well. And I mean, that's why Man City have a training facility in London nowadays, because again, it plays a big part in attracting players from overseas. And I think that's somewhere where Newcastle will look to explore, and they'll look to build that infrastructure and expand it amongst Tynecastle, and look towards like London, where the capital is, and that will by all means further attract big players like Tonali.
Maybe.
But this is it. Like, this is what the team. This is the model they've got to sell nowadays to attract big players.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it once was. It's the whole thing built in. So
this is it.
They'll still probably struggle as City did in the beginning to really bring in the huge names when they're competing against the Arsenals and Liverpool's or whatever, just because they're closer to the capital. But as City have shown enough success, and you can get whoever you want.
Yeah, but we've seen it fail in the past as well. Like when we see it with the likes of Malaga in Spain, like they're out of pocket now, and we don't hear of Malaga anymore. We see the Russian club Anzi when they signed the likes of Eto'o and Willian, Roberto Carlos.
I mean, it doesn't help when you racially abuse your players as well.
I mean, perhaps, yeah, you're right, but by all means, this is the thing. Financially, they had a.
Yeah, you can throw all the money at the problem, but Tottenham did it with the Kane money. They brought 13 players in. It never worked. One or two decent players remain of it.
With the Bale money, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so you can have them problems, but yeah, it looks good for Newcastle if they get a couple more players in across the line. We have to wait and see. At the end of the day, like the hardest thing is to judge these players because they look good in their own respectable league, but it's not. He's not going to get the same fouls that you get in Italy. It's a little bit more contact. Like how quick is he going to come up to speed with it?
It feels like a bigger jump from Serie A to the Premier League as well. I don't know what it is.
I think it's because they play so slow and so defensive, where the Premier League's a little bit
They do play more
open.
defensive. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
So, but he might slip in. I think he'd be a lot bigger help in Europe. I think he's a better signing than Declan Rice will be for Arsenal.
Well, talking of Arsenal as well, like, of course you just mentioned there Declan Rice, who's agreed a move to Arsenal for a total package of 105 million or whatever it is.
Which is mental.
It's crazy money. And what else? The other deal that was in a sense a bit crazy money as well, especially from the Chelsea faithful, was Kai Havertz going to Arsenal for a fee of 65 million. Now this is a player who I always thought that Chelsea were using in the wrong way, personally.
I'm just going to say it. Look, you might have different opinions. I just don't think he fits Arsenal. I don't understand where he's going to play. I don't think he's... I just don't get it. I don't think he does anything that Jesus can't do. He's not going to go into that midfield. He's not going to make that midfield better.
This is the thing.
I think Xhaka's a better player than him, and I don't rate Xhaka at all. I think that's a downgrade.
But even then, I still think that Havertz and Xhaka are two completely different players in terms of their style.
I just don't get where does he fit in? Because ultimately, from my perspective, I think he fits in where Odegaard is right now. You wouldn't.
But they don't play, and the problem I think that Havertz has had is he played in a Leverkusen team where he was fantastic as a youngster, but he was playing as a 10, and they were playing at 4-2-3-1. Very rarely do you get a team now that sets up 4-2-3-1. So he's had to try and morph as a player into a role as into this false 9 striker that he isn't.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be this box-to-box midfielder. So unless they're thinking going forward that they're going to build him in somewhere and change something, I don't know. But I think more likely he'll rotate with Jesus and he'll drop down and he'll do the same kind of movements as Jesus. But it'll be interesting to see. They've spent a lot of money on him, so they need to accommodate him somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And he's bound to start as well for that sort of money as well. I can't see Arsenal sitting Havertz on the bench and play second fiddle for the likes of Odegaard or Smith Rowe or whoever. Like he definitely, like you said, Joel. Like he blossomed at Leverkusen as number 10, and a lot of Premier League sides don't play that system anymore, where they play more of like a defensive. They play with a defensive midfielder and they have two midfielders in front of them. So in Arsenal's sense, they had Xhaka stick behind the likes of Odegaard and who was it? Thomas Partey, if he was fit, perhaps. Yeah.
Well, and nothing else.
No, don't add anything else to that.
No, that's what I just...
And so, it'll be intriguing to see how Arsenal mould him into their side. Like, whether the case they do end up rotating him and playing him as a number 10 and changing the system completely to accommodate him, or they play him perhaps as like an inside forward from the right, as he's proven before, where he cuts in from the right side and
they're not replacing Saka.
This is the thing, because in that case you're replacing Saka or Martinelli, who were both outstanding for Arsenal last season.
Period.
Well, I mean, Saka they believe to be, the best youngster in the world. That's the belief in at the Emirates. That's what they believe. Whether or not it is true, and I'm sure Cam will have a different opinion, and that's grand. But in terms of what Arsenal believe, that's what they believe. They have one of the best young talents in world football. So there's no way they're replacing Saka. In my opinion, I think Martinelli is a better player than Saka. So if you're going to blossom and develop talent, I don't see why you would mess with that left wing. My worry for Martinelli is that if Havertz spent that kind of money on Havertz and they think that he's more effective in that forward role, do they start to move Jesus out wide? I think Jesus showed very much why Pep Guardiola played him as a winger at City, because yes, he had a hot streak when he started at Arsenal, but he don't come across to me as an out and out goal scorer. He's very good on the ball, really good close control, can beat a man. He's got great vision, like you watch him and some of the balls he puts through and the things he sees. But it strikes me more as a wide player coming in. He obviously wants to be in there and score goals, but he doesn't strike me as someone that's going to be that absolute poacher and bag you 20 a season. He feels like an 11, 12 a season kind of guy, the way that Saka and Martinelli are. So, and Havertz, again, doesn't strike me as someone that's going to come in and bag 20 a season. So I think their problem is that they could get themselves into a position again where they're competitive and beating a lot of the lower teams, and then they're not going to have this clinical goal scorer that's going to really push them and give them a chance of winning the league.
He's not going to score you 30 goals. They're going to get... I don't think they'll do as well next season. I think Champions League football will stretch them, and I think they'll be shown to be not frauds, but that was their season. Like, that was their chance to win the league. I don't think they'll get close to it again.
They've made some decent signings.
Underdogs now, and when Arsenal had the pressure, when Arsenal were Premier League winners in January, you see them crumble. They weren't. The underdogs have just been along. Oh look, this is a good win. Oh, we don't expect to do anything. This is a good win, and just going on that run, slow and steady, nothing build up. But then when it was pushed on to them, they crumbled, and now you can't go down as underdogs. You spent 200 for it, like arguably at the end of 200 million at the end of the transfer window. You're not underdogs. You are one of the favourites. So if you don't challenge, that's a failure, and that's the problem you're going to have. You can't have Arsenal fans. Oh, I'm happy with top four. No. You've got a challenge now, because you were challenging last season with a very bang average team. Now you've got to challenge with the depth you've put into your team now. The £105 million midfielder that's going to be so great. He's not a good player, Declan Rice. He does bang average stuff. I don't understand this 105, because he's English and he's won a European honour with West Ham. I don't think he does anything special.
I think that's what really raises his price as well, Declan Rice.
And then Kai Havertz, who just misses chances. One-on-one with a goalkeeper and
again. I think we've spoken about this before, that the price tag's huge for Rice, and I think I've said before that I think he's massively overhyped, and he will become even more overhyped because he's at Arsenal now, and that is what they do. They are Twitter beasts, so he's going to get hyped up. Does he improve Arsenal? Yes, because it isn't hard. If he goes into Xhaka's position, is he a better player than Granit Xhaka? Yes, easily.
Yes, no, 100% easily. You know what? I'm amazed that Arsenal got the price tag for Xhaka that they did from Leverkusen. Personally,
you're looking at. So, Kai Havertz for me is a strange one. Declan Rice has been rumoured for so long; they've got it over the line. They're always going to have to pay a premium because it's what not. It's not about how. It's not about basically, isn't it? But it's not about how good of a player he is. It's about how much he is worth to West Ham. That's the problem. And in terms of West Ham, he is their absolute ceiling. So they're losing their captain, the person they've built their squad around. So he was always going to be inflated. Plus, he's going to have the English inflation in him as well. Any fucking English player is going to get an extra 20 odd million thrown on. the one bit of business I think's gone quite under the radar. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but it's the centre back Timber.
You're in Timber, yeah.
Engi's a very. I think that's a decent signing. We see when Saliba got injured that they fell apart, having to play Rob Holding.
Yeah.
Whether or not he comes in, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think the guy's a really good centre back. So I would put him in instead of Gabriel and play Saliba next to him and play. This whole you can't play with two ball playing defenders, mate. Go watch City. They've just won the treble. What the fuck do they do? So you can definitely do it.
No, 100%. And he adds that versatility as well. I know he can utilise himself as a right back and a holding midfielder if need be, but he's a very bullish player who likes to get himself stuck in, very aggressive defender himself. But I think he's a brilliant addition to the Arsenal side, and I think he will improve the side as well.
The scary thing here is, like Cam's saying, right? So at the moment they're at whatever, say, once Havertz and Timber's done and Rice, they're at like 200 million. They're now being linked with Jeremy Frimpong.
They're linked with
at right back.
The boy from City that went to Bayern Munich.
Who, Cancelo?
Yeah, they're also linked with Cancelo as well.
I haven't seen a lot of talk about Cancelo as of late. I mean, I know City's only business so far is Kovacic going from Chelsea for a fee of 20, 30 odd million as well. I don't think it's a weird signing at all. I think he'll be fantastic for City.
Yeah, but for Chelsea to sell to City is very, very strange. Just
I think it's strange in like the age profile. It's just not what City normally do to sign someone in the, you could argue, the latter echelons of their career.
Well, I thought.
I think it was more the case of like them letting go of Gundogan, because they didn't want to give him a 3-year contract, and so Barcelona offered him a 3-year contract, and so they brought in Kovacic because he was the closest thing to Gundogan's profile.
Fucking mental that as well. Like, I don't care, like what we're saying about Kovacic, like Gundogan, better player. You just give
I would have happily given him 3 years as well. I didn't understand their thought process behind that.
Like the form at the end of the season, like captain at the end of the season, the performances. I get having this like structure in place, but we've seen Liverpool with this structure, and they absolutely, shot himself in the foot. I know that, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and Wijnaldum's gone and he's got injured and blah blah blah. But Liverpool haven't got anyone in their midfield that's as good as Gini Wijnaldum, and they let him walk out the door.
Yeah, and like you spoke about Liverpool just there, and it looks like that Klopp's acting on that as well, and has brought in the likes of Alexis McAllister from Brighton, and the big one recently was Dominic Szoboszlai from Leipzig, currently in talks with Lavia from Southampton. Like, are these the puzzle pieces that Klopp needs to fix the midfield issue?
Well, I think the one thing you know about Klopp is that he can build a team.
Yeah.
And that's question marks around the likes of Postecoglou that's come to Tottenham. Like, can he build a team? And Arteta he's come in, he won the FA Cup and then had a dip, and he's had a lot of youngsters. But can he go out into the transfer market and build a football team? Pep's obviously got the wealth of oil, so obviously it's easier to put together. But that's the question mark around a lot of managers. But we know Klopp can do it. He'll identify, he'll bring in people that fit his style, and he can definitely build a team. So I'm not blown away by any of the McAllister's. He's a good player, but I think is he Liverpool level? Is he going to push him into the Champions League? I don't know. He was pretty quiet when he come back from the World Cup. It wasn't like he was dazzling on a game-to-game basis for Brighton, who was having a fantastic season. So, not sure. The boy from Leipzig, I can't say that when we played him in the Champions League, I thought, he's a player. So, again, we'll have to see.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the style that Liverpool play, isn't it? Like, they made Jordan Henderson look like a good player. More the system.
I think it's all about their front. Their front three is so pivotal to that attacking press.
But the biggest thing they ever let was Sadio Mane go.
Yeah, and again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and
but
they chose Salah over Mount.
I think Liverpool, for me, looking in, they have far too many attackers. But Salah starts 100%. That Diaz for me has to start.
Well, I think when they
I think he does start, but the problem is, he's been injured for a few months.
But then Jaw's a fantastical player.
Injured as well.
Yeah.
This Diaz, if he can finish, Jesus, he'll score some goals.
Gakpo's there as well now.
Gakpo's there now, and I think he's been a breath of fresh air for Liverpool. I don't know, I think Liverpool's midfield has always been a cause for concern. Like, speaking to supporters that I know, and McAllister by all means could be a hit or miss. I know he had a.
We've called this out so many times, right? And I don't understand. I'm not a football manager, clearly, so obviously Klopp knows better than me. But why don't they just go sign a competent right back and take someone that is?
That's exactly what they need. That's exactly what they need.
Fantastic on the ball, has the engine that Trent has, and allow him to play somewhere that he isn't going to be exposed for his frailties, which is defensive positioning, and allow him to play in midfield. And so you play McAllister a little bit further forward. You then have Trent next to him, and then you have this boy from Leipzig or whoever.
Yeah.
You want to.
Who again is very versatile as well. Can play in midfield along the left wing, number 10, right wing. You could play pretty much anywhere, and then you just have that extra someone that you're speaking.
Yeah, and go and sign someone like I'm not saying that this person fixes everything, but like Livramento is a good young and up and coming fullback at Southampton.
I was exactly thinking Livramento. If you're looking at Lavia, you look at Livramento as well. And
go and activate that.
Thumbs up from Stu as well.
My problem with Trent is I just don't think he's a good defender, and as a defender, you need to be able to defend.
Yeah.
He's all right one-on-one, but it's his positioning. He just gets caught out because he's so focused going forward. He has such a good delivery, and he's good on the ball. But the problem when I always get into these kind of debates where people are bigging up Trent, I'm like, the problem here is that we're talking about a defender that struggles with defensive positioning. And if you bring him into that midfield, yes, obviously you have to get back in that, but you release him from having to get caught out playing right back. You bring him into the centre and really build a team around someone that's from Liverpool, that's going to be there for however long you want him to be there for, and just go again, re-energise the midfield and allow him to go play. And if it goes wrong, if you go and sign someone like Livramento for, I don't know, whatever you'd be paying for him, 20-25 million, it's a big fee, but if it goes wrong, then he can just go back and play right back. You're not spending whatever 60-70 million on a right back.
This is it, yeah. You're looking at around 20-30 million, especially with Southampton being a relegated side, by all means, which always lowers the price with most players. I know it has, except for Ward-Prowse and Romeo Lavia, who, like I said, they're in talks with at the moment for a fee of 50 million. So this is the thing. Like, I still feel there's still other pieces of the puzzle that Liverpool need to fix. Right back being a massive one. I still think they need another centre back as well. With Van Dijk not being the same player since his injury, Matip, who's always on the sidelines. I think Konate is an absolute liability in that centre back partnership with whoever he is. I think there's still 2 or 3 departments they need to look to improve in Liverpool if they want to be up there with the likes of City again and Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's the defence is more so. Like I said, I think that the front 3 are so key to that trigger press, and that front 3 was so good. Like when it was like Salah, Mane, Firmino in their prime, they were so good that again they protected the midfield and everyone. But now obviously as that's changed and things have moved on. They've been exposed in certain areas, and I just think you could protect him and allow him to play a completely different role where you'd get far more out of him. You get him on the ball more in more advanced positions. You could easily play like the Mazzala role and drift to the right if you still want him delivering those crosses. But I'm not a football manager. Klopp obviously knows better.
Yeah. Well, here's a big question for you boys. Do we see Chelsea competing again next season? Obviously, Poch has come in. He hasn't made many recruitments thus far. Obviously, we've had Nkunku come in. That was a deal that was agreed 6 months ago. But then as of late, we've had Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal sign for a fee of 35 million. This was a striker that was linked with Bournemouth heavily back in January. The move collapsed as we sit here today, and then had a very good 6 months left with Villarreal. Scored in as many games and has now made the move over to West London. But do we see Poch being the right man to take Chelsea forward going into next season?
There's two ways this goes, and there's only two ways it goes. He either has a great year and gets him into the Champions League, or he's sacked in 6 months. But the problem is Chelsea fans aren't willing to have a project, so I can only see it going 6 months and sacked.
But this is the thing. What is the project now at Chelsea? What is Todd Bowley like? We've seen him sign players left, right, and centre, young players as well. In January, the likes of Madueke, Mudryk, Badiashile, Enzo Fernandez. There's a few to name as well. So it seems like Todd Bowley himself has taken it on board that the squad needs a complete refresh. But is Poch really the right man to, give them that sense of continuity and add some interest to the Chelsea side? I've got Gondor here as well. I told you to come over, but we moved over to Chelsea. We were talking about the Liverpool situation. I don't know if you wanted to add anything on it. We were talking about the midfield situation with the likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister.
Midfield is looking grand, in my opinion. Midfield now looks grand. We need that right back. I know you were mentioning centre backs. I'd like a new centre back, but right back. We need a right back.
And Joel said the likes of Livramento.
Tino, absolutely, 100%. Tino would be a fantastic addition. I can't hear shit.
You can take these if you want.
Yeah, I think what we had said is right back is an issue, but what could potentially fix it is just by taking Trent and playing him in midfield and protecting him from that defensive positioning problem that he seems to have. You still probably get the best out of him and plays in that Mazzala role, drifts wide, delivers, and you just relieve him from clearly an area of weakness because he just gets caught up in the play and Liverpool are exposed. And maybe that's why the likes of Kanate and whoever seems to play on that side look so vulnerable because they're almost covering two positions.
I 100% agree in the defensive idea. I'm massively outspoken, though, in my belief that Trent needs to be sold. I do not think he fits the Liverpool system. I think he does not have the capability to dribble or pass that Liverpool need, even in midfield. I think definitely he's worth being in a top half Prem team, but I don't think he is right for Liverpool.
That's a hot take right there.
It's a hot take.
I mean, I've been criticising Trent for 4 years now? Something like that.
Yeah, but you're right in your take of the fact that defensively he is weak. He's very weak defensively, but
it's also the offensively he's so 50-50. He is not consistent with his ability.
But he's more consistent in his creativity than he is in his defensive work.
He's more consistent, yeah. I think, don't get me wrong, I think he's got the potential to be great. But playing for Liverpool, especially in a right-back role, he is not at the level we need him to be. Like, I will always bring you back a few years back. He had a game where he had a 0% pass ratio.
But that's just one game, though.
That's one game. If you're going to be playing midfield for a top 4 team, you cannot have a single game where you have a 0% pass ratio.
The geezers won everything at 23. But you can look at a single game. Trent is out. The season you won, he had like 20 assists. Won the league at 20 assists. The guy is worth everything. He's one of them players you fit in. Arguably on his day, he's one of the best young players in the world.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that he is a fantastic player. I do think he is a good player. I just don't think he fits Liverpool.
I see the argument. I see the argument that not all fantastic players fit in all fantastic clubs. I get 100%. And when you're talking about, he wouldn't fit into. If you're breaking down right backs in the Premier League as right backs. As a person who wanted to play right back, I don't think he'd be in my top 10.
How many times do you want to say right back?
At least one more time, right back.
But like, even if you put him as a midfielder, and personally, I wouldn't put him as a midfielder. I'd put him as a right mid, not central mid, or a right winger.
So you'd play him?
I'd still play him out on that right side. I just wouldn't play him defensively.
So what sort of shape would you go with Liverpool then?
For Liverpool,
if you were to accommodate for Trent to play in that starting 11, how would you?
Trent wouldn't make that starting 11 for me. No, because if you want to play Trent, I think he needs to be pushing forwards, as everyone said.
Okay.
But for me, I think he's more of a winger because the best you see of him is when he whips those crosses in.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't go ahead of Salah for me. And I'd put Salah out on that right.
Yeah, I don't think he goes ahead of anyone for Salah.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't make that Liverpool squad for me.
I think looking at the midfield, I don't know too much about the boy that, like I said, the boy they bring from Leipzig. When I was watching Leipzig versus Celtic in the Champions League, I didn't think, fuck me, he's a player in either game. So I think he could do a better job in there. I 100% back the argument, though, that there's a problem at right back, and Klopp seems to he was playing him as that kind of, that role that every Tom, Dick and Harry's playing now, where the right back kind of comes into midfield. But then I think you confuse him even more if you're asking him to do that and then get back in position. That's like his absolute weakness. If you're saying, right, I want you to come in here and play here when we're going forward, and then in transition, I want you to drop back and get back in position. He was struggling to get back in position when he just had to run in straight lines.
Or do you not just buy a holding midfielder and tell him cover Trent? Exactly what Henderson did.
That's the issue we've got at the moment.
Well, that's what you had with Fabinho.
I didn't like Fabinho in the position he played. I don't think Liverpool should be playing a holding mid. Like, I've not got any qualms with Fabinho himself, but I think you want Fabinho and, say, McAllister or Szoboszlai as midfielders that can track back, and then we want an attacking mid. We are good going forwards.
You want Szoboszlai to track back?
No, maybe McAllister instead. But like,
you want McAllister to...
No, but like as proper midfielders, the two of them as out-and-out midfielders, and then the third...
Like with Lavio, you'd want them to track back.
But the third midfielder would be an attacking mid instead of a holding mid. Because we are good going forwards, and you want to make more of those opportunities. And I feel we do that more if we don't have a holding midfield. Like Fabinho, my biggest criticism of him has always been he's a pinball. The defence pass him the ball and he passes it straight back to Van Dijk to play the ball forwards. If we have a ball playing defender, we don't need that holding mid because they're trying to play the same role.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. I think the difference in the defensive mid argument probably is that Fabinho is average, and if you have someone in that 6 on the pivot that really breaks up play and controls play and moves it on, then you don't have to maybe pass the ball to like a McAllister on the halfway line. He's getting the ball, 25 yards from goal. If you've got like, and I don't think this player is particularly good, and that's probably a hot take, but someone like Rodri, who has the ability to at least turn and then give De Bruyne the ball, 30 yards from goal, rather than just pop it to him on the halfway line, and he's got to create something. But it seems that that's how every team plays now. Like the 10 just seems to have died.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, if Fabinho even turned and played it to the midfield, I wouldn't have so many criticisms, but it always just felt like he played it back to defence for them to pump the ball long.
Yeah, I think that's where you'd want someone like Romeo Lavia, who's younger, is more robust and mobile, who can make those turns, from his back from the midfield, and that can look to feed play to the likes of McAllister and Szoboszlai, who can then advance forward and create problems and feed the likes of Salah and Diaz and Jota and Nunez, whoever you've got going forward.
Clearly there's a problem in midfield when Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are getting games.
But this is the thing,
Harvey Elliott can just fucking suck
this is the thing. These are two players that I don't think are top half Premier League players.
Harvey Elliott,
far from it.
I quite like Harvey Elliott. I agree he's not ready yet. But I think put him out on loan for a season or two and he could fit the system.
Send him down to Cardiff City, boyo. All right, you lad.
Fucking dough office, mate. He's just stealing a living.
Like he's not ready to be playing for Liverpool now. He's had a couple of good games and a lot of bad games.
Should be playing five-sided goals, mate. That's the level that comes out.
I think what happens with Liverpool, unlike really any other club in the English Premier League, is their fans will just take to a player in a way that you see it. I think it's been well documented, but like the Peter Crouch documentary and how they took to Crouchy and he hadn't scored in however fucking many games it was, and they really just took him in and wanted him to do well. Harvey Elliott getting that horror injury, like Liverpool have just sort of rallied around him and they want him to be good, and Liverpool, the Anfield crowd will certainly let someone know if they're having a bad game, but they're also pretty good at picking players up when they're struggling, which you don't get at too many other clubs. I think that's kind of what's happened with Harvey Elliott. They've kind of wrapped around him, and maybe they're giving him a few more bye balls than he should be having. But I think, get him out on loan to, try and keep him in the Prem to develop him. But yeah, I just don't see it.
Send him to Everton. He'll keep him
Send
up.
him to Everton.
He'll keep him up.
Shithouse.
We keep the derby going for a few more years before they get relegated. It'll be fun.
Oh God, I don't think Arsenal fans would agree with that. Well, the only two teams haven't been relegated.
Should we transition across? Should we do this?
Let's do this. Get the quiz up. Right, boys, get your smartphones ready. Get your notes up.
Yeah, get your notes up. I want you to write down your answers to make sure you're not cheating.
Oh,
right,
what?
So there's 30 questions, right?
There's going to be 30 questions. I wrote this quiz in the way that I write the quizzes I do for the pub, but I've skipped out the half-time stuff. So, like, the picture rounds and the music rounds are gone.
Oh, well, that's my fucking chance gone. Cheers for that.
Like, I did say, when I wrote this, when I originally came up with the idea of this, I had an idea about bringing in a music round, but I didn't want the DMCA strikes or anything like that, so I decided to skip that.
It's a smart call.
So there's going to be 30 questions. We're going to have 15 in the first round. We're probably going to do the whole thing in one go, though, aren't we?
I was going to say we're going to have 15 in the next
so
round.
So it's going to be 5 Premier League questions, 5 Championship questions, 5 Scottish Prem questions. Then we're going to have 5 Cardiff questions, 5 Celtic questions, and 5 general trivia questions.
Tottenham didn't make it. A bit racist.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I wrote the quiz, in the nicest possible way, Cam, I forgot about you.
That's all right.
If we were going to a bar mitzvah, no, we'll leave that. Morgul, got it.
Yeah, settle down, mate.
Give me more work. Cheers.
God damn.
If I write you another quiz, I'll add some Tottenham questions in.
I just won't be here. Where I'm not
No,
wanted.
you won't.
All right. So, some of these questions might be super fucking easy. Some of them might be a bit more difficult. We'll see. Normally, when I write a quiz, especially with the sports questions, Morgan is the guy that I ask for how difficult they are. Couldn't do that with this one, so we'll see how it goes.
Wikipedia.
No, I'm gonna straight up tell you. When I was telling Morgan, when I wrote these questions, I was going deep into the archives on the Celtic and Cardiff websites to actually get the official answers from them.
He's going to make us look so stupid with the Cardiff and Celtic questions. He really is. He's going to make us look so fucking disloyal.
Some of these questions as well are repeated but changing depending on the theme. So the first theme then, Premier League, 5 questions. Question number 1. Nice and simple to start off. When was the inaugural season of the Premier League? So what years were the first season of the Premier League?
I think.
Oh man,
There's 2.
I'm struggling straight away.
Yeah, I had 2 as well, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, honestly, I thought this was a super easy fucking question.
That's great. Great start.
I mean, I'm definitely in and around it.
Don't get me wrong. After this question, I had no fucking clue to any of them.
I'm definitely a year out. Or I'm right.
Yeah, same. I feel I'm a year out.
Some of these questions as well, I'll give you like a leeway, but for this one, I can't.
Give me a shit.
All right, question 2. Which striker was the first to score more than 20 goals in the Premier League for 5 consecutive seasons?
It's one name, isn't it?
5
I feel like Cam's got this one. He's got the confidence. 5 consecutive seasons, 20 plus goals a season.
Boys, I don't think so. Look,
I mean,
there's one name.
I hope. I pray.
I hope. I may be wrong here. No, actually, no, I'm not going to go with that.
There's one name for me.
I'm just absolutely doubling down on it, and it could be complete.
Right. Question number 3 then. Who scored the first ever goal in the Premier League?
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck's sake.
I got to put some really difficult questions in there.
I wasn't born.
So, who would have been? Fucking hell.
I don't know.
I'm actually just going to put it out there. None of you might have been born.
No, none of us were actually born, including you. We were not born.
We've watched some great Premier League years though. Oh fuck.
No, actually, I'm gonna change that.
I'm going 1. Nah, I'm gonna go with that one. Don't know why it's coming to my head.
All right, okay.
So next one's worth 2 points.
Ooh.
So which 2 teams were involved in the highest scoring match in Premier League history? That's worth 2 points. And there's a bonus 3rd point if you can give me the score.
Oh, yeah, boys, we're on to a winner here. I'm making.
Oh, he's fucking got it, isn't he?
I've got 1. I just don't know if it's the right team.
If it isn't that, if I've remembered that game and it isn't that game, I'm gonna cry.
I've remembered a game.
I don't know if
I didn't write down the year though. When I wrote this, some of them I wrote down extra information for.
What was the question again?
So for 2 points, which 2 teams were involved in the highest scoring match in Premier League history?
Okay.
And for a bonus 3rd, what was the score?
Well, if I'm right, then I've got all 3 points because I remember the score as well.
I should have grabbed a pen and paper when I was doing this. So
I'm gonna
between rounds 1 and 2, I'll run off and grab a pen and paper so I can track scores. All right, final question for the Premier League. The fastest goal in the Premier League was scored in 7.69 seconds, but by who?
And I might know.
Give you the team as well.
There's 2 bonus points for this. Which team were they playing for, and which season did it happen?
I don't know. Do you want the fucking underwear I wore as well?
When you say "do I want it," do you mean "do I want it," as in it becomes mine, or do I want to know what you were wearing?
Right. Okay. I've taken. I've got an idea of who it was.
I know who it was.
Yeah, I've got at least 5 I've got number 5 right. I know the team he's playing for. Not sure about the year. 4 and 5, I'm confident at. 3 is an absolute stab in the dark. 2, let's just hope, and 1 should be right.
No, one.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I think.
See, I thought question 1 would be the easiest one, but you guys sound so much more confident about the rest of them.
They're all shit. I hate them.
Thank you. I appreciate this. All right, we'll move on to the championship then. So question 6. This one, like question 1, is inaugural season. Having previously been known as the Football League First Division, the EFL Championship was introduced first in which season?
Oh my god.
Oh, Dad.
So in other words,
I feel confident.
which
in that one.
season
I feel
did it
confident in that
become the championship?
one. I feel confident. in that
Are you
one.
talking about being called like
The name of it,
Are
the
you like Coca-Cola?
championship, just
Or
the championship.
Well, it's later than that then.
So no, this is nothing to do with sponsors or anything like that, but the actual name of that division.
Oh wait, I don't know if I feel confident on it.
I don't even know when to put.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay.
I can give you a hint if you want.
Nah,
Nah,
it's fine,
fuck
mate.
hints. We just roll.
Alright, question 2. In May, this one's an easy one. In May 2012, which player signed for a championship club for a non-league record transfer fee of £1 million?
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Apparently, no.
Got that. I know me and Joel have got that one. I know we've got that one. I know
It's
me and
very, very famous signing.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, is I'll always try and throw something that I think is nice and easy in there for you, just to keep you interested in the quiz.
I'm gonna go with it, but just because he's a cunt. I don't...
Yeah, I think you've got it.
Alright, question 3 for championship. This one's a little bit more of a tough. Tough? A little bit more of a tough? This one's a little bit more tough. Who was the first non-English manager to win the EFL Championship Manager of the Month? There is a hint available in this one.
Nah, it's grand.
Just manager of the month.
Non-English Manager of the Month in the EFL
Is that the
Championship.
clue?
No, the clue is the year that he won it.
No.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
not
take-
close. No. We keep
I'll
rolling.
take majority. If 2 of you want the clue, I'll give you
No.
the clue.
I want the clue.
Fucking
Joel,
Yeah, I'll have the clue.
it was in 2005.
cheers. Helps me ton.
Well, it's not who I thought it was.
Freddie Flintoff.
We'll
No.
delete that name.
There is another clue, but the second clue completely gives it away if you know managers from 2005.
I'm gonna go with
I'm gonna go with him, even though it's not him. But I'm gonna go with him because it's the only one I can think of.
I'm gonna go with him.
I do well. I think I do well to get a point on my spelling my own name on this so far.
Can't remember his fucking first name.
We're not worried about first and last name. If you have a name and it matches,
Just a
I'll give
name.
it.
Oh, cool. Say less.
As long as it matches.
Oh, I just thought a name was going.
Alright, question number 4. This one is a bit more of a guessy one, but
Cool.
I've depending on what your answers are, I'll give you plus or minus 1. How many clubs have played in the Football League Championship at any time since its formation with the name starting with W?
What?
Oh,
So
sorry,
how
I'm
many
gonna
clubs
fuck out of
with
this.
their name starting W have played in the Football League Championship since its formation?
Yeah, keep
Since
counting
the
them out on your
championship.
fingers, Joel.
Yeah.
You keep doing that for me.
Shush! I'm trying to count you, poor bag.
Shut up, Cam.
The final championship question, and this one I did write with Morgan in mind,
Can you say non-English or non-British?
non-English.
Alright.
What?
So the final championship question, you haven't missed anything yet, Cam.
Okay, cool.
Final championship question. Which club gained promotion to the Premier League with a playoff final victory over Cardiff City in May of 2010?
Fuck you.
Oh,
Why are you putting that in for? Why?
Why not? Why not?
Why?
Why not?
Why?
At least-
I've
at
got
least you
5
get one.
Cardiff questions coming up
Why?
later.
least you
Why,
get
why,
one
why, why are
right.
you putting that in? Why are you
What?
putting that in? You're such a dick. Why are you putting that
You
in?
should get one right.
Such a dick. Fucking putting that in.
I don't know.
Oh no, I've got the wrong playoff stuck in my head. Just thinking of fucking
You're an arsehole.
Dean
no.
Windass's volley, which was against Bristol City. I always watch these as well. What the fuck?
Deal.
Was it?
Can't think of it.
Was it just a team?
Just the team.
Just a team.
I think it might be them. Might be wrong.
All right. Question number 1 for the Scottish Premier League. Or, sorry, Scottish Premiership.
Brilliant.
What season was the Scottish Premiership introduced?
What do you?
So when did it become the Scottish Premiership?
Because it's now the SPFL, but you.
That's what I mean, the SPFL. When did it become the Scottish... Because before that it was called the Scottish Premier League. Now
Yeah.
it's called the Scottish Premiership.
Oh.
Good start.
Oh shit.
All right, let's think back to all the trophy celebrations. How many times were we picking it up when it was the SPL?
Well, I'm taking the fucking stab in the dark with that one.
I think it's pretty recent. I don't think it's too old. That may be wrong. We move.
All right. Second question. This one. Which club in...
Sound it
I'll
out.
start this again. Which club is the only one not to contain any letters from the word football in its name?
Oh, fucking what are these questions, man?
What?
So in the Scottish Prem, which club is the only club not to contain any of the words from the word football in its name? And that's full name, I believe.
You believe or you know?
Well, according to the website that I found this question on.
And letters, brilliant. What I'm good at. Fuck knows. Go with them.
Well, we'll say not from its full name, just from the main part of it. All right, question 3. This one is a multiple choice.
Yes.
Dens Park, the home of Dundee, is how far away from Dundee United's Tannadice Park? Tannadice Park. Is it A, 300 metres, B, 3 kilometres, or C, 30 kilometres?
Mate, no Google, Joel. Fucking hear your keyboard going.
Because my answers are on a sticky note, because I don't live in the year fucking 99, so I'm typing answers.
Oh.
And
Strong.
See, originally I said to Fennan my idea was to share a Google Sheets or a Google Sheets with you guys so that you could all answer on the same thing and I could just have access from the off. But he thought that was too much.
that's how we do it next time. And that way I can Alt F4 and close my Wikipedia tab.
I was more worried about Cam, if I'm honest.
Oh.
Alright, question 4 for the Scottish Prem. Out of all 4 divisions of Scottish Professional Football League,
Good.
which club comes last alphabetically?
Oh, fucking.
Oh, it's gone quiet there, hasn't it?
Oh, ABCs.
Cam clearly passed English when he was at school.
Fine.
It must
Couldn't pass a bag, let alone English.
it must be a West something.
Oh. That's mine wrong. Alright, we'll stick with it.
Alright. Final question for the Scottish Prem. Which club did Celtic famously beat to win the European Cup in 1967?
Oh, well, I thought there was a bar.
Wait.
Yeah, there is.
That seems to have been wrong.
What?
I seem to have written down the wrong answers for that one. Bear with me. We're going to stick with the question, but I'm going to just look up where I wrote that question. So, which club did Celtic famously beat?
How's this ended?
Your call ends in 15 minutes.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, loads of time.
Yeah, we'll just reboot the call anyway if that happens.
Again. I think I've got 2. Maybe.
Mate, I think I've just had an absolute thunderbolt of lightning for number 8.
Number 8? What the fuck is number 8?
First non-English manager to win Manager of the Month in the Championship.
I mean, I've gone for it, but I've only gone for it because I know he's not English. He might have managed in a championship. That's about it.
No, I've got someone in mind. I don't know why I've gone for this person, but just purely because, like, they're British, basically.
Yeah, so's mine.
So's mine. God, what's this? Like half-time team talk.
Alright, that is not the question I thought I'd been writing down, but that'll
Right,
do. Alright, do you want to go straight on to round 2 or do you want to do half-time scores?
Round 2, fuck it.
Round 2?
Yeah.
Okay, questions for round 2 include Cardiff, Celtic, and general trivia. So we'll do 5 Cardiff first. Cardiff and Celtic, you might recognise the questions from each other. So, Cardiff City, question 16. What year did Cardiff City form?
Lift your sharp a bit more.
What year
for me.
were they founded?
Struggling.
I feel like I could have a Celtic one, in all fairness.
No idea. Absolute punt.
Yeah.
Right. Question 2. Who was Cardiff City's first ever manager? Do you not know the history of your own club here, Fennan?
I feel like this could be cut, but it's not that bad.
Question 3. Who is Cardiff City's all-time top goal scorer?
Oh, man.
Fuck. That's someone from a long time ago.
Question 4.
It's not Gareth Bale, despite
Who scored the 118th minute equaliser in the 2012 Cup final against Liverpool to take the game to penalties?
Yes.
Did they lose that?
Yeah,
they
Fuck
did.
off.
Doesn't
Yeah,
fucking
they
matter.
did.
Fuck off, all of you. Fuck off, all of you cunts.
Hey, you took us to penalties. I'm bringing that to the
Sharp, you
limelight.
prick, get on with it.
All right, question 5. What is Cardiff City's highest ever recorded league win? And you get a bonus point, 2 bonus points, 1 for the year that it happened, plus or minus 5 years, and 1 for the result.
Well, fucking none of us were alive for that, I'm guaranteeing.
Yeah, I'm taking a guess.
Is it the team it was against, did you say, as well?
Have the Nazis.
You don't need to give me the team it was against. Just what the score was. Oh yeah, no, the team it was against. So what the score was is the main question. Then bonus points for when it was and the team it was against.
You're right there, Morgan, snacking away.
First manager to manage Cardiff.
I now officially know more about Cardiff than you.
Brutal.
Let's see. Like,
All right.
do you know the first
Spells the
manager?
boss life for me.
Zoblasai.
Wrong.
Okay. Right, question 1 for Celtic. This is question 20.
21.
What year...
Was they formed?
Oh, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Question 21. What year did Celtic form? So what year was it founded?
Happy days with another one in the bank.
I'm not a fucking clue.
Oh, you're going to love question 22 then, Fennan.
Oh, what, their first manager too?
Who was Celtic's first ever manager?
For fuck.
Days with another one in the bank.
See, Joel knows the history of his club.
I hope anyway. I hope I'm going first.
I can give you a fun fact here, by the way. Their first ever manager came 11 years after they were formed.
No, that's me fucked then.
Because for the first 11 years of Celtic's playing, they were managed by the board of directors.
I'm taking the board of directors as my answer then, because you
No, because
asked...
they didn't manage.
But for the first 11 years, there wasn't a manager, so technically...
Name the board of directors.
Yeah, name the board of directors.
Just board of directors, mate. Sorry. I'm having that. Shit.
Question 23, if you hadn't guessed, is who is Celtic's all-time top goal scorer?
Is it him?
No, it's definitely not who you're thinking.
Is it not? Shit.
Fuck's sake.
Can I ask who you guys were thinking?
Yeah, thinking Henrik Larsson.
Oh, yeah. Just a small clue then. No.
Oh, who is it? Is it Scott McDonald?
I'm not telling you yes or no yet.
Oh, I should know that.
So should I.
Yeah,
And I
I
think I've
guess
got
that as well.
I think I've got it wrong. Which is
Oh.
still-
I haven't got an answer.
Question 24.
Celtic's biggest win?
Henrik Larsson played
Larsson.
221 times for Celtic between 1997 and 2004. I want to know how many goals he scored.
That's a tiebreaker question.
Plus or minus 10.
Wait, how many games did he play?
He played 221 games.
I thought he scored 200 goals.
So it's plus or minus 10 for how many goals he scored.
Fucking hell, Stu.
Well, I had a number in mind already, so I guess that.
Just to point out as well, I wrote this quiz in less than an hour this morning.
No, I'm going to give you that.
Yeah, it's difficult, like, considering it's decent, like, fair play. Don't let the haters. hate.
I want you guys to feel like there's enough that you know, but
There's not enough that I know.
I feel thick as shit, Stu.
when I write a pub quiz, the idea is always that you struggle with it. But when I give you the answer, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, of course.
Yeah, the Cardiff ones, nah. Not going to be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
no.
that was him.
The Cardiff ones, I don't expect it. All right, final Celtic question. And it's the same as the final Cardiff question. What is Celtic's highest ever recorded league win? Bonus points for the year it happened, plus or minus 5 years, and who it was against.
See,
Have we
Cam
ever
was
done-
going to say something there.
Have we ever done more than that?
yeah, we have.
Have we ever
Right
done...
now, I feel like you're thinking about the Rangers game that was the 9-2
No.
victory.
Nah, we've scored more than that.
You have scored more than that.
Oh, no, so it's not 9-0 Rangers of 97.
That was 7-1.
Yeah. There was a whole song about it, mate. Hamden in the sun.
Alright.
Oh,
I
Have-
don't know.
Problem is, have we ever double digit someone?
I'm guessing.
I don't think.
I'm purely guessing.
I thought it was recent.
While you guys figure this one out, Fennan, do you want to restart your call so that you don't get it ended in 6 minutes?
I can't record it. Joe's the host.
Even
It'll
if
be fine.
we leave and come back, it'll be like
Yeah.
6 minutes. Has to actually kick you out.
Alright, okay.
Fine.
Oh,
Alright, are you ready for the next one?
I'm I'm just going with that one because it was pretty big. But...
The next one is a tough one.
Brilliant.
Like, a really difficult one, and I'd be surprised if you get it. So this is general trivia. Ooh. And the question is, who was the first goalkeeper to score in an FA Cup tie?
Oh. Is it FA Cup?
The secondary fact of my quiz is I want you to have trivia to use in the future. So this is something you can remember for the future.
FA Cup.
So the first goalkeeper to score in an FA Cup tie.
Well, I'm going to take a stab in the dark with this.
Like the whole thing.
I can give you a clue as well. The clue would be the year. But that won't help you that much, I don't think.
What is the year?
The year is 1977.
It definitely won him.
Well, it weren't him. It's not Peter Schmeichel.
No, it wasn't even Peter Schmeichel, I was guessing.
I was going to Stoke goalkeeper.
No, it wasn't him either.
Really?
1977.
Oh, I don't know. Him then.
We'll just go with him because it's boring.
Because it's boring. Alright, question 2 for general trivia. Which nation has won the African Cup of Nations the most? And a bonus point if you can tell me how many times.
Racist. I don't even know. There's one team that comes to mind. One country.
I think the country is going to be quite easy to get. So that's why you got the bonus point for how many times.
That answer might be a little bit too niche. Should probably go with something a little bit more generic.
Can I change my box now? Deal or no deal?
Alright, question 3. Which nation won the UEFA Euro 1992 despite not initially qualifying?
Got it. Decent. That's one for sure.
This is how to do a pub quiz. When you think you're getting fucked off with it, you throw a nice easy question in that everyone's like, easy, I can keep going now.
No, I'm done. But, you know.
Thank you.
Alright. Question 4 for general trivia. So this is question 29. Which was the only FA Cup winning club to be relegated from the top flight in the same season?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, we've got that.
Get an extra bonus point, tell you the colour of the hair that he scored.
I don't.
What's the score? What's the score?
I would have to take your word on that one. Alright, final question. 3 points available. Who are the 3 Swedes with Premier League goals or assists this season?
The 3 Swedes?
With Premier League goals or assists this season.
Goals or assists?
Goals or assists.
I've got 2. Have I got 2? Yeah.
I had to do a Swedish-based question in the Premier League, considering where we're based.
Yeah, I've got 2.
I've got 2 as well.
I've got 3.
He's done well.
Shut up, Cam.
Probably not Swedish.
Goals or assists this season in the Premier League?
Yep.
I wonder if he's got one. I've got 3. I'm confident with 2.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark on the last one.
Right.
I think of that last player. I don't think it is.
Shall we go through the answers then?
Yep.
Okay, so question 1 was, when was the inaugural season of the Premier League? So which season was the first season of the Premier League? Morgan, what'd you go for?
I put 90 to 91.
Joel?
91 to 92.
And Cam?
I put 92 to 93.
Cam gets the points.
What is it?
92 to 93.
Fuck you.
So every question involving the Premier League, we can officially say I was born for. Which is why when you said you weren't born for this either, I was like, ah.
Can we end it here?
Can we end it
good night, yeah.
GG.
Question 2. Which striker was the first to score more than 20 goals in the Premier League for 5 consecutive seasons? Fennan.
I went with Alan Shearer.
Joel.
Shearer.
It was Thierry Henry.
I put him initially! Fuck!
I was actually going to put him as well, but I thought it had to be Shearer.
It was Thierry Henry.
Fuck.
Okay, the first of the very difficult questions. Who scored the first ever goal in the Premier League? Fennan.
I put Ian Rush.
Joel.
Dion Dublin.
And
That's
Cam.
a great shout.
That's a great shout.
There's Ferdinand.
It was Brian Dean.
Who?
I don't know. I hoped you guys would know.
Sheffield Wednesday player, I think.
Come on, Wednesday!
Alright, so then the next one was which teams were involved in the highest scoring match in Premier League history? That was worth 2 points. And a bonus point for the score. Fennan?
I went with United Ipswich 9-2.
Joel?
Portsmouth Reading 7-4.
And Cam?
I went with Man United 9-1 because I don't remember who they played.
It was United Ipswich 9-0.
Oh.
So quite close there.
So how many points do I get?
2.
Alright, cool.
Do I get a point because I got United?
You got a point because you got United.
How does this work? Portsmouth
Wait,
Reading
hang on, but
7-4.
no,
It was
sorry,
a point for each team and a bonus point
but
for
Reading
the
and
score.
Portsmouth scored more goals though.
In the Premier League?
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
they scored 11 goals though.
Look. Just because you didn't get the point, I'm...
No, I ain't
you got the
complaining.
2 teams.
I ain't complaining. Right, go on, next one.
There will be questions on how relevant the websites I found. I'm not the biggest person into
The
football.
highest scorer in Premier League
Shut
game
up.
of all time was 11-goal thriller between Portsmouth and Reading in 2007.
Joel, look, the quizmaster has spoken. So... Put your phone down. We're not
He can't
getting
put his
into
phone
this.
down. He's got his answers there.
No, he wrote them on his computer.
Oh, okay.
We're not getting into
Joel, what did you say for your answers?
Portsmouth and Reading 7-4.
All right, well, I'll
No.
think about it. I'll think about
I'll
it.
think about
The
it.
quizmaster has spoken.
All right, so the fastest goal in the Premier League was scored in 7.69 seconds. That has not been beaten since. So who was it by? And bonus points for the teams and season. So who scored it? Fennan.
I'm gonna guess Shane Long for Southampton in the 18-19 season.
I've gone Shane Long,
Joel?
Southampton 2017.
I just went Shane
Cam?
Long, Southampton. I didn't put a year.
Okay. Do you know who he scored it against?
Probably Spurs.
He scored it against.
Liverpool.
This isn't worth a point. This is just out of curiosity.
No, he scored it against West Brom.
It was against Watford.
Oh, I was close.
But it was Shane Long for Southampton in the 2018-2019 season.
Oi, hello. How many points do I get for that?
3.
Yeah, boy.
So we get 2.
So if you said Shane Long, Southampton, you get 2 points. Okay. Having previously been known as the Football League First Division, the EFL Championship was first introduced in which season, Fennan?
I said the 03-04 season.
Joel?
I went much later now. I went 2016.
And Cam?
99.
It was the 04-05 season.
Oh, I was going to put that as well. Fuck.
Okay, in May of 2012, which player signed for a championship club for a non-league record transfer fee of £1 million? Fennan?
Jamie Vardy.
Joel?
Chat shit, get banged.
I put Troy Deeney.
I'm guessing Joel put Jamie Vardy there as well.
Yep.
Who was the first non-English manager to win the EFL Championship Manager of the Month in 2005? Fennan?
Mick McCarthy.
Joel?
David Moyes.
And Cam?
I put Ian Rush.
It was Tony Pulis for Stoke.
Pulis. Fucking
Okay,
hell,
how
man.
many clubs have played in the Football League Championship at any time since its formation with names beginning with the letter W. Fennan.
5.
Joel.
8.
Cam.
7.
It was 6.
Fuck.
It has been Watford, Wycombe Wanderers,
I forgot about
Wolverhampton Wanderers, West Ham United, Wigan Athletic, and West Bromwich Albion.
One of the annoying things, I counted to 6, and then I thought I would have missed a few, so I went up to 8. Fucking raging.
Alright, Fennan, I'm sure you got this one. Which club gained promotion to the Premier League with a playoff final victory over Cardiff City in May of 2010?
Fuck the Seasiders, Blackpool.
Joel?
I said Reading.
Sorry?
I said Reading.
Okay. Alright, Scottish Prem. Which season was the Scottish Premiership introduced? So that's the SPFL, Fennan.
I guessed 0102.
Joel?
2017.
Cam?
2014.
Well, Cam was the closest. It was the 2013 to 2014 season. Fun fact, the Scottish Premier League only existed for, I believe, it was 11 years, 12 years, because they changed their system and then decided to change it again in 2013. Okay, so which club is the only one in the Scottish Premiership not to contain any of the letters from the word football in the name? Fennan.
I put Inverness.
Dundee.
I put Aberdeen.
Dundee.
Look at Joel. Look at you
Joel.
go.
Okay, question 13. Dens Park, the home of Dundee, is how far away from Dundee United's Tannadice Park? Was it 300 metres, 3 kilometres, or 30 kilometres? Fennan.
I went B.
Joel.
Nah, it's right next to it, so I just went 300 metres.
And Cam.
C. Whatever one.
Okay, it is 300 metres. It is the closest grounds in British professional football.
Fucking shit.
What was that? A.
A.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of the 4 divisions in the Scottish Premier Football League, Scottish Professional Football League, which club comes last alphabetically? Fennan.
I put Sterling.
Very close. Joel.
Well, I'm miles away. I went like West Lothian.
And Cam.
I went Queen at South.
It's Stranraer. Which club did Celtic famously beat to win the European Cup in 1967? Fennan.
I believe that was Inter Milan.
Joel.
That was indeed in Milan.
And Cam.
I went AC Milan.
Please tell me you're joking.
I am.
Alright, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, halfway scores are done. That's for me, I'll tell you them later. Right, second half, Cardiff City. Which year did Cardiff City form? Morgan.
1899.
Joel.
1906.
Cam.
1876.
It was 1899. Who was Cardiff City's first ever manager? Fennan.
I've got it wrong. I put Fred Keenor.
Joel.
Mr. Jones from Wales.
I just put Welshman.
Welshman. It was Davy McDougall.
Oh yeah,
Never
Big
got
Davey.
That. Big Davey.
Who is Cardiff City's all-time top goal scorer? Fennan.
I said Peter Whittingham.
Joel.
Robert Earnshaw.
And Cam.
Tom Inks.
Tom Hanks.
Oh, just Tom Inks, mate. Just an Inks.
It was Len Davies.
Len Davis, okay.
Who scored the 118th minute equaliser in the 2012 Cup final game against Liverpool? Fennan.
I was there. Ben Turner.
Joel.
Craig Noon.
Cam.
No one.
Ben Turner. Alright, what is Cardiff City's highest ever recorded league win? Bonus points, plus or minus 5 years for the year, and bonus point for the team they were up against. Fennan.
I took a guess. I went 8-0 against the Manky Jack Fucks in 1972.
No.
Okay.
Joel.
I said 8-1 against Birmingham in 1985.
Nope. Cam?
I just put 7-3 against Swansea. 1965, random year.
I mean, 1965 is the closest year so far.
Is it?
It was a 16-0 victory against Thames in 1932.
Thames all well, yeah?
Thames?
Yeah, just Thames.
I'd beat a fucking River 16-0.
I don't think you would.
But it was in 1932. Alright, Celtic. What year did Celtic form, Fennan?
1884.
Nope.
Oh, you
Joel.
sound like 1888.
See, this is where you're
Oh, I
gonna,
should have known that!
this is where you're going to get pissed off with me.
He's going to go 1887, isn't he?
Because you're wrong. And I got this from the Celtic Football Club website. They were formed in 1887. They played their first game in 1888.
I'm taking it as a point. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, that one I got from the website. I went through their records and their history to get that question.
Well, I fucked up.
But you were right. I'll give you a half point each because you were right in that it was the first game was in 1888. Sidebar: do you know the first team to play on the home ground for Celtic?
Stranraer?
First team,
Hibs.
Hibs.
Yeah, it was Hibs.
oh yeah, the kit's on the way.
All right. Who was Celtic's first ever manager? Not the board, Cam. Fennan.
Jock Steen.
Joel.
Willie Maley.
Cam.
Just put the bold.
It was Willie Maley.
Just put the ball.
Willie Maley was part of the original team, and when he retired from professional football at the age of 29, he took over managerial role. There were question marks about whether or not he could officially be called a manager, as he did not fulfill the manager position, but was more of a administrator. But he is officially in their records as their first ever manager. He took over managing in 1897, so 11 years after the first game was played.
Yeah, I was there.
See, this is the joy of going through the Celtic website. I get all this extra information for it.
When do we get to the conundrum?
Who is Celtic's all-time top goal scorer? Fennan?
Jock Steen again.
Joel?
I hope to fuck it's Jimmy McGrory.
Cam?
Are you saying that? It makes a lot more sense. I just put Larson, but it's not.
It's Jimmy McGrory.
Great clutch.
Okay, so Henrik Larsson played 221 times. It's Larsson.
Larson.
It's Larsson.
Larson.
I live in his fucking home
I don't give a
country.
fuck where you live.
I can tell you how to pronounce his name. It's
I knew there'd be a dispute
It's
about it.
Henrik Larsson.
Henrik.
Well, they rolled the R's. I
Henrik
can't,
Larsson.
I can't roll my R's.
No, you try convincing.
How many goals did he score for Celtic?
You
Fennan.
tried to convince me that Copperberg was pronounced Copperberg instead of Copperberry.
It's Copperberry.
Copperberry, yeah,
I
exactly.
just can't need to be quiet, mate.
Berg, B-E-R-G, Berg means mountain in Swedish.
Don't
many
bother.
goals?
Come on.
So how many goals did Henrik Larsson get? I think I gave you plus or minus
no.
10, if I remember right.
I put 191.
Okay. Joel?
170.
I put 165.
It was 175, so Joel and Cam get the points for the plus or minus 10.
Nice.
And what is Celtic's highest ever recorded league win? Bonus points for the year, plus or minus 5 years, and who it was against. Fennan.
I said 10-1 against Hearts in 1993.
Nope. Joel?
I said 9-0 against Dundee United.
I put like 9-3
Did you
against
put a year?
Kilmarnock.
I mean, it would have been this year. I think 22, last year 22, 2022.
Okay, it was 11-0 against Dundee in 1895. It's on their website, in their records.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, none of us did, don't we?
Alright, who was the first goal? You got Dundee though, Joel?
Right, I said Dundee United. Let's not alienate it.
Yeah, there's Dundee United and Dundee.
Is there?
There's two set, yeah.
It's on the
I'll
website.
change that out.
He's a cunt, isn't he?
Not bitter.
I mean,
I'm not bitter.
you're probably not wrong, but fuck you.
Fair enough. I do try. What?
Who was the first goalkeeper to score in an FA Cup tie, Fennan?
I took a guess. Neville Southall.
Joel?
Peter Shilton.
Cam?
I've just gone for Peter Schmeichel. Fuck it.
It was Alan Cooling.
Oh, good on that.
He plays for Hampton. Or played for Hampton. He's probably dead now.
Good.
On the website, though.
No. We're off the Celtic shit now. Don't try and throw that at me. Which nation has won? Shut up! I'm trying to keep this going. Which nation has won the African Cup of Nations the most? Bonus point for the number of times. Fennan.
I said Egypt 5 times.
Joel.
I said Ivory Coast also 5 times.
And
I
Cam.
said Ivory Coast 3 times.
It was Egypt 7 times.
Oh, so I get 1 tick. Alright.
Which
Pharaohs.
nation won the UEFA Euro 1992 despite not instantly qualifying? Fennan.
I put Denmark.
Joel.
Denmark.
Cam.
Denmark.
Which was the only FA Cup winning club to be relegated from the top flight in the same season? Fennan.
Paul Jules Magic, Wigan.
Joel.
Wigan.
Cam.
Wigan.
And final one were 3 points. Who are the 3 Swedes with Premier League goals or assists this season? Fennan.
I know the last one's wrong because I couldn't think of another Swedish player, but I put Elanga, Kulusevski, and Lindelof.
You're going to kick yourself when I tell you the final player. Joel.
I put Kulusevski, Lindelof, and Isaac.
Ah!
Cam.
I put Kulusevski, Isaac, and that Black Man United striker. I can't think of his name. Elanga?
Lingard.
Elanga.
It was Kulusevski, Isaac, and Elanga.
Ah, fucking go!
Lindelof didn't score. What an absolute ball bag.
Or get an assist.
He is shit, isn't he? Utter wank centre back.
The person I was most concerned about was Kulusevski because he was been injured.
Fuck's sake. Fucking Isaac.
I told you you'd kick yourself when you found out.
I think I might have stolen it on that free, mate.
But I have your scores here. So, in third place, with 12.5 points, was Cam.
Yeah, I'm not upset about that.
In second place, with 15 points, was Fennan.
I got 15.
And Joel wins it with 16.5.
Beautiful.
Sounds
James.
good to me.
It was 15.5, but I gave you the point for the
Yeah. Quiz is bull.
debated
Yeah.
question.
Fuck you and your quiz. Hate it.
I thought it was good.
No, it was a good crack. Thanks for popping on.
No worries.
Good to have the old host back. Well, that's that from us. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in this evening for this special episode. Good to see you both again.
Mm-hmm.
Cam looking ever so indulged.
I mean, past my bedtime for about 2 hours.
Past your
so-
bedtime, you don't have
It
a
was past his
bedtime.
bedtime when you started streaming, apparently.
Past your bedtime. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in this evening. If you'd like to catch all our previous episodes from Season 2, you can check out all episodes on good audio platforms such as Spotify, Audible and Apple Podcasts.